excited. We can jump right into tonight. For this month's roundtable, I am so excited to talk about what we're talking about, because honestly, for you guys, Jacob, it's something that you and I talked about 2 weeks ago when we were together, just about the number of people on our teams, and we shared a little bit about how to make sure that everybody stays engaged. And then Sherith is notorious for sitting me down. She serves on my team at our church, and in all I can say is in love, telling me exactly what I need to hear. And if you're watching this back, if you don't have a sheriff on your team that is somebody that can speak truth in love to you and tell you blind spots, and you react to those things, or respond rather, and you take action on those, you are missing it. And you got to work on that. You got to give your team the ability to speak life like that into you. But yeah, we're talking really about what do we do when God gives us these people, right, on our teams, and how do we make sure they stay engaged? How do we stay connected to them in the busyness of our lives? I've got a kid on the way, so I know that my season of life is about to be drastically different. My pace is about to change. But at the same time, I've got people that are coming every single Thursday night and every Sunday morning to serve in a volunteer capacity. And I want to make sure that they're fully walking in their purpose. And there's more than a few of them. And so how do I manage my life in such a way that I can make sure that they stay engaged fully? And so to do that, I thought there's no one better that I can think of to speak on this than the Jacob Davis, who is currently serving, and tell me if I'm totally wrong about this, but you're currently serving as the worship pastor at Lake Wiley Christian Assembly. And we just discovered where that is, and that is a beautiful thing. But yeah, we're really, really excited about this. And so just to kind of open it up and kind of give us a frame for what we're talking about, I guess, we want to realize, and I've already kind of said it accidentally, but I want to bring attention to it. We are stewarding people. We're not just scheduling people. And as you're going to hear through this conversation, we have to understand that these are not just assets, right? They're not just resources that we have. These are not just spots that we fill with, names on Planning Center. These are people with experiences, with feelings, with emotions, and we can't just schedule people. We have to be stewarding people with their unique callings, with their giftings and limitations and goals for their lives and things like that. And so with that comes two realities. Sometimes we're in a very small season with teams, and we're in sometimes like a drought, it feels like. I've used that word before, as I'm screaming to the heavens, Lord, send more people. It seems like we're in a drought because there's not a lot of people, but then sometimes we'll hit a big audition season and there'll be a huge season and we've got a big team. So in some seasons, we will be stewarding 5 people, maybe 6 people. And in some seasons, we may be stewarding way more. There may be 60 plus people on our team, and we're having to do the same exact thing and just scale it. So tonight we'll do a couple of just points. We'll hit a couple of points, but really the whole conversation, I just want you to leave, whether you're watching it tonight or whether you're watching this later on. I just want you to have that takeaway that no matter where you are, whether you're in that small stewarding season or that big stewarding season, you have the ability to have a massive eternal kingdom impact with the people on your team. Doesn't matter. It's not a big church thing or a small church thing. There are things that you can scale. And so really, really pumped about tonight. To open up, though, I would love for us to just go around, all 3 of us right now. And if you're watching this later, then feel free to share this in like a comment or something wherever we post this. But let's just kind of go around and popcorn style. Anybody can kind of start off this if you'd like to. But in one sentence, keep it brief, guys. In one sentence, I just want you to share a win from the past month. It's been a month since we've been together. What is one thing that you're seeing the Lord do in your ministry, on your teams, that you just want to celebrate? Big or small, doesn't matter. Anybody can start us off. Dig deeply. This is good.
We probably all have like the initial idea, and it's just who wants to go first. um, We had Amala join us.
What's up, Amalo?
Awesome. Um, as I talk first, I guess I can go first. I have um a young gal. Her name's Naomi. She's 15. Her dad's one of our like bass players, and he's probably one of the most consistent people
Hmm,
that I have on the team. The guy practices an hour a day. He's like dedicated, bro. It's great.
incredible.
Um, but yeah, I felt led.
Guys, I said
Sick. Sorry about
that
that.
I would yell. Hold on. That I would yell if I wanted
Yep.
to do that now because I feel like I'm missing out.
All right. Go ahead.
Whoopsie daisies. Maybe she'll pop back in. Maybe her phone was dying or something. Yeah. So this girl Naomi, she's been working on piano, and I feel like the Lord said, "Hey, it's time to like get her on the team, start to train her up." And
Yeah.
I kind of have a teaching philosophy of half of it needs to be mental, and the other half you have to physically do it. So I brought her on for Sunday nights, and she did great. And she's jumped in with our house of prayer. We do a house of prayer once a week on Monday nights. And she said, "Hey, I'll do any house of prayer that you do. I'd like to commit to that."
Let's go.
And I'm like, dude, 15-year-old girl
Yeah.
is like showing up, bro. And I don't want to go on a long tangent, but I love it because I saw somebody's post today. I might talk about it later about younger folks. And sometimes I think we add too many barriers and
Mm.
we forget that we started out, that young. Like, dude, I was 11 when I started writing songs. I was like barely even 12, started
Yeah.
to lead worship. I'm 31 now. So, like, it was because someone gave me an opportunity. And anyway, that was just super cool to witness that.
That's amazing. Let's go.
Okay, I guess it's my turn.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this. I was like, all right, where am I gonna go with this? All right. So I can say my win for I'm sure I have a lot of wins, but I would say for this past 21 days of prayer, I did the Daniel fast. For one, I do not like vegan at all. That's not my life. And that's what I discovered. However, I discovered a little bit more about like my fasting seasons. And just to, I guess, give you a little bit of insight, Jacob, I really just started like, even though I'm like a preacher's kid or whatnot, I really just started my own personal journey like last 21 days of prayer last year. And it's been transformative. But I learned a lot about fasting as a whole. This one, I felt very clouded. I felt like, gosh, I can't hear from God. I'm not hearing from him. I'm hearing everybody else saying that they're hearing different things. And I'm just like, oh gosh, what am I doing? And I was just focusing too much on the wrong things, focusing on like, all right, what I'm going to eat that's not going to be terribly disgusting. Like, I'm just like doing all of these things and God had to reel me back in.
Mm.
All right, what are you really doing this for? What is the whole intention? And I think as I am growing and learning, I am taking his discipline and applying it. And I can just be so grateful for that. That's one thing that I can say. I'm just so grateful for his discipline. Like I really, what it teaches me is I understand that I'm constantly in test. He puts me through tests. I realize that I failed a lot of them, but I am pretty observant when I'm going through them. Yeah.
That's amazing. Such a hard season, but also such a good season. And kudos to you for not just hearing the call to fast as a corporate fast and just like hiding in the shadows and on the corners. Like you launched in and you were like, no, I'm going to get something from this season. And I mean, the Lord's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, right? Like we know that he's a man of his word. So well done with that. That's awesome. Super good stuff. Well, to keep things moving, I want to shift us in because I really want the bulk of tonight to be celebrations for sure, but I want the bulk of tonight to bless you in just in a different way of information intake. So I'm going to turn it over to Jacob for just a second. And dude, I just want, I'd maybe give a 60-second synopsis of your context so we kind of have an idea of when you say this is kind of why you're saying it, and we can kind of connect the dots. But then, man, I'd love for you just to give us some principles for keeping people engaged and cared for so nobody gets pushed to the fringes. We were talking a couple weeks ago, and I want you to tell us, like, for context, I guess, around how many people attend your church around, every Sunday, and then tell us the number of people that are on your worship and production team, because I think that's going to be awesome. That impressed me, and I loved that.
Well, I don't know about that, but man, I appreciate that. Yeah, so Lake Wiley Christian has roughly 500 people that go to the church, give or take. That's not counting the kids. We have a pretty large kids ministry, so I think it'd be hard pressed to figure out that number. I'd roughly make a guess of somewhere between 50 and 70 that are in fifth grade, and then the youth group is, I think, in 30 to 40. And it keeps going. There's a lot of babies, so half the church is over 60, and the other half is 45 with kids. So contextually, very interesting. I have 47 people on the worship team, including the AV team. So I have 4 sound guys and 3 lyric people, including my wife. That's hilarious. So I have it split up to 3 different worship teams to keep it organized. Worship culture wise, we could totally go off on a total rabbit trail there, but we are what I call a presence-based worship culture. So we are making space for the Spirit to move, and we have a plan, but we can go off the rails if the Lord directs us to go off the rails. Stylistically, it's all over the map. The church is 39 years old as of March 1st. So we've got everything from Brownsville to originals to upper room to the whole gambit of things. So if that was too much, let me know.
That's perfect. I love that. So launch us in, man. Open up the conversation to us. Being in that position with that many people, surely there is that gravitational pull to the fringes, and certainly you guys have probably, as you're watching this, you've all experienced this, where maybe you've been accused. Okay, I'll just talk for me. All right, I've been accused sometimes of having a very cliquey worship team, and I certainly think that there are, hot take, healthy versions of cliques. Don't dissect that too long or too much. We call them small groups sometimes, combined interests. That's how we all make friends in elementary school. My first friend was someone who also had a Pokedex, a Pokemon Pokedex. We had an interest, and so we forged a friendship, right? And so while that is, that's good to share common interests and things, there are definitely negative sides to cliques. But man, I'm sure with a team like your size, in your current capacity or in churches that you've led at, there's been that gravitational pull to the edges. So how do you keep people engaged and feeling cared for?
Yeah, man, I think that's such a great question. I think for me, I grew up the fringe guy, and I have been the fringe guy. I have not been a mainstream person. To anybody who watches our live stream, you'll probably wonder who the heck hired Jacob and what in the heck is he doing? And I'm going to go ahead and say that now, because I did not intend to be a worship pastor. I just wanted to write songs for the church. And I went and pursued and got a degree and all that. And was doing songwriting in ministry and writing 2 songs a week and whatever else. But yeah, so I answered the call later in life. And so when I think about the fringes, going back to your question, I'm thinking about what are the things that I wish that I had. I think the number one thing is people want real community. They want an actual friendship. Like, they want to actually know you, and they're tired of the surface level stuff. They want to really know you. So I've created a very open-ended culture. If it's private and like staff tells me not to talk about it, I'm not going to talk about it. But I try to keep it as open and honest as possible. I make lots of space for feedback and discussion. We do a Devo every Thursday, and I open the forum. I do like, how can we pray for you? What do y'all? Does anybody have a thought? Do y'all want to like? Does anybody want to contribute? Does anybody want to teach? Just the full gamut of those things, and I think getting into that, making that space has been really good for our people. That I think they've really needed that. So yeah, we have the way we do communication, I think also helps. So everybody uses Planning Center, which Planning Center is really helpful. We can send emails and all of that, and do phone text and all that. But I've got a group me, and in my group me, I have a announcement channel that's just for songs and updates. I have a community channel where anybody can post anything. I've got one for songwriting, one for Devo and music teaching, one for events, and one for a house of prayer. And I've set up, I've got 3 worship teams. There are 4 leaders right now, and I've given them admin access. So they can post things that they're doing. They can pick songs and keys. I try to empower people, I guess you could say. And then, just making sure to meet up people, get lunch, keep it open, keep it honest. Go ahead, Chair.
A question about the 3 worship teams. I meant to ask you earlier, but we went on. So the 3 worship teams in one church.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 47 people, and we have 4 drummers. We have 2.5 bassists, 3 guitar players, 3 keyboard players, 1 that I'm training, and then I have like 25 vocalists. I don't need any more vocalists. I'm good for the next year. My sheriff is a guy named Tom, and he's one of our sound guys. He's great, and he's honest and he's kind, which I really appreciate that. I'm always like, dude, like, what do you think we need? What do we need to fix? So a lot of what they care about is, can we have real community? Can we have gear that actually works? Can we get together and hang out? What's the future of the church kind of thing? And so I try to meet those needs. Taylor, the more questions you give me, the more that's going to help me, because I can get totally like rabbit trail into the network.
Your rabbit trails are so good. So I want to give you like a wide berth with that. I like what you said though about the way that you communicate. And honestly, you just gave me a wicked good idea, because part of my role is stewarding our church's songwriting. Typically, like your worship leader is in that capacity, but mine is specifically spelled out in my job description.
Sure.
And I've always struggled with how to facilitate that. And so we've got a WhatsApp group, same exact thing as your group me. And so we've got the channels as well. But I never thought about creating a songwriting channel or a songwriting thread where people could put in voice messages, they can drop lyrics, we can work collaboratively. That is a phenomenal idea. One thing that I did think about with that, this is kind of a rabbit trail, but I've started using, what's it called? I can tell you right now, it's a great site. It's a collaborative, I don't know exactly the name of it now, but it's a collaborative songwriting site. And so I've started doing this with a couple of people where I've just sent them an invite to it. I can't think of what it's called. I'll have to post it in the community somewhere. But it's cool because it's real-time edits and stuff. So if the other person is working on the song, you can see what they're typing and things like that. You can upload demos, all that kind of fun stuff. But all that to say, I love that you're creating those channels for communication for your people. I've heard from a good friend that clarity is kindness. And when you are clear, you are being kind. And so I think it's important for us to realize or to recognize that when we talk about fostering growth for our teams and stewarding our people, I think you'd agree with this. It's important to realize that no 2 team leaders are identical and the same. And surely there's a difference in how you steward this person versus that person. And So how do you navigate that? Since we're not copy and pasting, discipleship plan for this person, this person, this person, it's not a carbon copy, right? Like surely there are some things that you lean into, and how how do you navigate that kind of thing?
The Holy Spirit. I mean,
So good.
yeah, dude. I mean, practically, I think God's wired me to think a certain way about just the way people are. I don't know how to explain that other than it feels almost like I've had this like strategy brain, kind of like a general, and I haven't. Okay, this person's good at this. This person's good at this. This person's good at this. These are the weak points of this particular person, but I think that also about their personality and their calling, and I've had that for a long time. But yeah, I think again, I think half of things are taught, and the other half you have to actually do them, right? You have to physically do them. So when I was praying, because I really value that particular passage where Jethro's talking to Moses, and you need to delegate, you need to pass out your authority.
Yeah.
Right. And so that passage, if I remember correctly, he's like, okay, have one for 10 guys, one for 100, one for 1,000, one for 10,000, and then an elder for each individual section. And man, I think that is so important. So I was praying, I was like, Lord, who are the worship leaders that you want for this church? Who are those people? Not who I think are good. Who are the ones you want? And God listed these 4 people. And one of them has led one time before I showed up, and just has the capacity. And dude, he's ready. He's been sitting in the background serving, plays bass and electric guitar, lets us use his gear for free. The dude's a gear maniac. He's a welder, and he's great. He's great, bro. Then I have another gal. She is so prophetic, and she doesn't even realize it yet. She doesn't realize
Wow.
the gift that God's given her, and she just needed somebody to say yes, dude. And so it's been crazy watching her just jump into that. And then the other 2 people knew. One of them has a lot of stage fright and has a super powerful prophetic gift, amazing singer, and she's really come out of her shell. She's a diehard introvert, bro. Does not want to talk to people, will not talk to people. And it's when she turns that joker on, it's like Stephanie Gretzinger took over the room.
Yes.
It's crazy, she's or Amanda Cook. And then I've got another guy. His name's Gerard, and dude, Gerard his story is crazy, bro. He was gang thugging craziness, was in jail, whatever, got saved in jail, got out, got delivered from Freemasonry, all kind of wackiness. Now he's ministering in the jail, and the dude has this powerful songwriting gift.
Wow.
And, but yeah, I think they each individually have their own trajectory, and I'm praying okay, Lord, what do they need? And some of it I can tell, okay, Gerard is learning how to be on time, not to just do the gospel. We're going to go, and it's we need time for that. And Bethany's learned to be confident, so I'm making space for her to take ownership. I let her lead a whole set recently, and she did such a great job. I was like, dude, you're ready. You got this. You're good to go. For Brittany, it's there's some of that confidence, but it's also knowing her range, knowing her instrument. And then for Phil, it's just falling, taking a leap with the Lord. The dude has a strong exhortation gift. Take a warhammer and whack somebody upside the head with it and throw them on the ground, kind of gift. Anyway, but they're each on different paths, and to me, they are fringe people. Bethany might not be to some people, but so in giving them that authority, I've also been like, hey, you can also reach out. You can also invest. So that way I'm not stressing out about 47 people, and I'll individually pour in too. But just in my mind, I'm like, anything I can, if I don't have to be in charge of it, let me pass it on. If I'd rambled too much, dude.
I literally posted a story this morning on my socials, and I said, nothing motivates me more to get something done than when I delegate a task to somebody else. It is uncanny. I'm not kidding. When I break down and I go, I don't have the bandwidth to do this, I'm going to give this task to someone else so I can do what only I can do, right? I read Maxwell. I know all this stuff. So I do it. I delegate, I communicate, I let them know, hey, this is my expectation. All right, I'm taking my hands off. Why is it then that I get the most motivated to do something? And so that is something that I am trying to really learn, especially when it comes to community. My biggest, I won't even call it a blind spot because it's glaringly obvious to me, but one of my biggest opportunities, I guess, in leadership with my team is to just host more fun times for community to happen. I'm very good at business, accomplishing things, tasks, systems, all the stuff. What I lack is the drive to just hang out with everybody with no agenda or just no desire, no purpose other than just to collectively hang out. I know it's wildly important. I know that there are, like you said, more is caught than taught. Like there's things that people will pick up, just happenstance from my leadership that I will just do, and they'll see it rather than me trying to say it with a microphone from a platform. But it's those kind of things that I truly struggle with. And so I've leaned on people like Sherith. I've leaned on people like Luciana on my team, who love hosting, who have gifts with this. So I just go, hey, not my strong suit. I know it's very important for our team. Can you come alongside of me and help me accomplish that? Because it's insane to think that as a worship leader, we have to be the full package. Sometimes I feel like we fall into that trap, but we can be, I tell people all the time, I'm your biggest cheerleader. You can be anything, but you can't be everything. Like you just can't do it all, Nemo, right? Like there's something that you can't do, and that's okay. That's beautiful because God has put 46 other people on your team that you can delegate things to. And so, yeah, I think just being really clear is huge, and delegating, I think, is really big too. Something else that we talked about before, you and I, is just identifying the level of hunger in people on your team, and we've talked about that not everybody is going to be doing the same thing, and you can't just copy and paste what I want growth wise from this onto this person, because the reality is, like you mentioned, a lot of people on your team, we have nothing but volunteers on our team. And so I've got somebody who is a phenomenal worship leader. I mean, has the stage presence, has the anointing, just like you're saying, she's prophetic. She can exhort, she can flow into these moments and steward them beautifully, but she works full time at Mercedes. She's probably never going to step into a full-time ministry position. And I have to be okay with that. And I have to not push her and go, I'm going to form you into this perfect worship leader, and I'm going to try to get you to do this thing full time, because I need to steward her differently than I do the intern that's coming up in the ranks that has a calling for lifelong ministry, right? They're going to want to do something that's not going to line up with hers. And I have to make sure that both at the same time, and this is where it gets so frustrating for me, because like in my head, I'd love to just be able to copy and paste, like make my discipleship plan and then just send it to like everybody at the same time. But it just doesn't work out that way, because God is, and thank the Lord for that, right? Like, because could you imagine if we were all carbon copies of we're the perfect worship leader, and we're just like all doing the same thing? I don't think we would reach as many people as we would. There are so many things I just feel like, Jacob, you and I would disagree on. And then there's so many things that we would agree on. But I think it's in those differences that it's the body of Christ, right? The beauty of the body of Christ is found in the diversity of her parts. We're all different, but we're all part of the body, and we all work in a different form and fashion, reaching different people. And that, it's so frustrating, right? But it's so good when you realize everybody has something unique that they're giving. And when we just release them to do that, watch what happens. I mean, the sky just opens up. We had a conversation with, on our team, we've kind of broken up our vocals into, we've got a choir, we've got a newly made midline, which will make sense in a second, and then we have a front line. So we have 4 frontline singers that serve 4 positions on Sundays. Then right behind them, we've got a midline with 2 vocals, and then we've got the choir. And in those different positions, where was I going with that? That was a good thought. I was giving you context for what I was thinking. Come on, Lord, connect the dots.
I think you were talking about like the giftings in people, and maybe you're going to explain that in your systems, how that works, I think.
Yes, let's go there and see if it catches. That's a good thought. That's a good thought. I'll tell you why the midline was made, and we'll see if the thoughts connect. Come on, synapses, do your thing. So midline came about because we had people that were serving on our choir that wanted to start growing and developing. But when you step onto our front line, that's the front. Like, that's in front of everybody. Like, those are my song leaders. Those are my moment leaders. They're leading not only songs, but also moments, right? And so what I didn't want to do is just thrust somebody that is serving in a behind the scenes sort of capacity, and suddenly, boom, you're a song leader. There's not a lot of room for error there. Like, rehearsals are fast. Like, so you got to kind of have to adjust and happen quickly, get things happening quickly rather. And so we created this midline thing as sort of a way that's a safe place that's just behind the front line, where people can come in and start getting used to wearing in-ear monitors. We do that. That's new for a lot of people. We use a program called Clang for our in-ears. That's new for a lot of people. And so we want to give them a place where they can start operating in their giftings, but also growing in those specific things that could trip them up on frontline. And so it gives them a chance to spend a season in midline before they can step onto frontline to learn how things operate and things like that. So no clue, zero idea on the first part of what I was going to say, but I think that's a really important kind of pathway that we can create. And dude, I'm sure you've got little pathways like that. Like, there's 1,000,001 different ways that we can create as avenues for people on our team to start getting reps. But I think it's that. I think it comes down to looking at who's hungry and going, okay, you are somebody that in this season I need to give a lot more to. I think it was Andy Stanley that said, do for one what you wish you could do for all. Especially in my context, we've got a lot of people on our team, and it's just not feasible for me to spend one-on-one time with everybody. So I try my best to lean into like one person every week really hard. So I'll spend some time texting them. I'll spend some time calling them. I'll try to get coffee with just like one person a week. Sometimes it happens with more people, naturally. Sometimes it happens like with families and stuff. Like, we'll go to like Liz and I took one of our guitar players out to Mexican the other night with his family. That was fun. But I'm doing for one what I wish that I could do for all. And in doing that, it's giving me a chance to kind of get a pulse on the team. Who's hungry? Who's really needing a next step? Because everybody needs a next step, right? So good stuff with that. Let's shift a little bit and go into kind of a little different direction, I would say. I want to make sure that we drill into this a little bit and get really practical. And I'm loving how the conversation's going. And Shareth, at any given moment, feel free to interrupt us again, because you have great thoughts and it's amazing. But let's talk a little more about engagement. What do you think specifically at Lake Wiley? If you get real specific and look at your team, what do you think makes somebody feel engaged on your worship team right now? How does somebody go, man, yeah, this is my team. I feel locked in because of maybe this. What would you say?
Man, I don't know if it's one particular thing. Yeah, I think it's some of those values. I think I mentioned 4 values at the very beginning. So there are some people that I know they want real, like, dude, I want a real friendship. I don't want you to freaking like another number in the wheel, you know.
Yeah.
I could use other words there, but I won't.
Thanks.
I don't
Appreciate
want
you.
to edit that. um, but yeah, no. So I can tell who some of those people are. The other of them, I think, wanted a future, and there wasn't really a future in the previous iteration. I don't want to speak badly about anybody. That's never my heart. But yeah, when I came in, I was praying. I was like, okay, Lord, where are we going? What is it that you want this ministry to do? What's on your agenda? We want to follow that agenda. And what's your future for these people? You know?
Yeah.
And so God gave me like 4 things that we're to build, and then started laying out the kind of culture that we were to create. And when I first met with everybody, I told them what those things are, and it got them really excited. They're like, dude, I'm in. Let's go. You know, like I'm ready to go. And so like, you know, we've got a music school. We started the house of prayer. We're going to have a recording studio. We're going to have a worship college, but it's for the purpose of training and discipling musicianaries and sending them to the 4 corners of the earth.
That's cool.
You know, so that is like the purpose. And there's other things, like there's a worship conference thing that I'm building that's based off of my master's program that I did. That's going to be about what does it mean to be a healthy artist in the church? How do we operate? And so for them, like, it's really that passage in the Old Testament of without vision, the people perish.
Right.
So for them to have that, I think has put a fire in their belly, you know? I think those are the 2 biggest things. I mean, outside of that, I try to be really attentive. I'm on the group me a lot. I'm on the social media. I try to meet with people if I can. It's a little harder in my context because a lot of my team are, I would say, roughly 37 and have kids. And so they're getting off work and they got to pick the kids up from school. And, you know, usually Sundays they're 1 free day. And I'm whooped. You understand. I am whooped on Sunday. I do not have a brain. I will try to meet with people and I am just done. And we have a Sunday night service. So I'm pooped from Sunday morning and then I have to turn it back on for Sunday night in 5 hours.
You're like, come on, church, aren't you grateful for the rest the Lord gives?
Yes.
I don't get any of that, but hey, let's do.
Yes. For that reason, I Sabbath really, 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 really hard on Friday. I'm like, do not freaking call me on Friday.
Yep.
Anyway, but I think those are the 2 major things. I'm sure that there would be other things that they mentioned. Preparing way ahead. You actually, I read your post on the app, and I thought it was so great. You're talking about preparing ahead of time. They want that so bad, man. And I would say, like, they were used to, before I came, the whole set list would change Sunday morning. The whole set list. Every week.
Sherritt's would have an aneurysm, just so you know. She would personally cry.
Dude, and I was like, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So I prayed over, okay, Lord, what are like the 30 to 60 songs for the next half a year? What are those songs? We're going to do like 4 songs a week. And then I pray, I'm like, okay, Lord, what do you want? I'm not going to move until you tell me what you want. And then we do that. And they get the keys and and I think it's not perfect because I've got some people that don't know their instrument yet and don't understand music theory yet. Just sometimes Thursday night we have to change a key. But at least 90% of things are staying the same. So people aren't completely losing their mind. Anyway, not to go on a rant.
That is a beautiful direction, and you hit on so many things that I would love to launch into, but we have like 15 minutes left. But I'll just kind of dive in go a little bit deeper on one of the things you said. What to talk about Sabbath, but man, I want to talk about Sabbath. We just today, actually, in our all staff, we have once a month gatherings at our church where all of our staff members come together. We have a couple campuses, and so everybody comes together at that once a month. And so all of our worship leaders, well, some of our worship leaders were together today. A lot of our guys are part-time, so they work full-time jobs elsewhere. And so today, actually, it's February 3rd, and we all just basically finished up the March set lists. So that is insane. We've never been that far ahead on stuff. A month ahead is usually my goal, but it seldom ever works out that super well. And it was great because we got to do it together. And so it wasn't just one guy planning sets for all these different churches. It was a collaborative effort, which is always much better. And man, when I tell you we were picking, they were calling out songs, I went, I forgot that song even exists. That's such a good song. Put it in. And so we put it in Planning Center, and it was just so good. And yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I'm going to have to talk about it. Sabbath is so crucial, I think, for what we do. And it's going to have to be a full episode, but we can't hit that, and not, that can't come up and not talk about it, because in our field as worship leaders, we are performance driven. We are very, we're service driven, certainly, because Sunday comes every single week and there's an event every single week that we are expected to play a large part in. Most people say that apart from the actual pastor, that the worship leader is the most visible person on the platform. And so you're totally right, dude. It pulls out so much of you, as you're leading and as you're stewarding people. And it is foolishness to say that you can just go and never take a refreshing moment. Behind the curtain a little bit. This morning I was just talking to my wife, and I was just tired. I was getting ready, and I was like, man, I just don't want to go in today. Like, I just feel like nothing bad was happening. I didn't have any confrontations, or conflicts that I'm struggling with, or things like that. I just felt a little bit like, I don't know, like just kind of like tired. And immediately as I started talking about it, I called it out and I said, I don't think that I'm I don't think I have a replenishing well right now. Like, I don't think I'm spending time with my hobbies. I'm definitely not Sabbathing as well as I have in the past. I'm just pouring out, and it is impossible to drink deeply from a shallow well, right? We know that. But we can so often pour out at services, pour out at rehearsals, pour out at a coffee meeting with a team member that's struggling with our leadership or someone else, and they're just packing on comment after comment and constant whatever to us. We're internalizing all that, and maybe we don't have an eye to eye with our lead pastor on our budget. There's all kinds of a million different things and pressures that are coming at us, and we have to have that moment where we go, Lord, I'm taking an afternoon, I'm taking an hour, I'm taking a day, and I'm just going to enjoy your presence. I'm not going to make anything. I'm not going to produce anything. I'm not going to schedule anything. I'm just going to enjoy your presence, and it's just me and you. We have to have that, because if not, we will be leading from an empty tank, and sooner or later we're going to hit the end of that. And I've never done this, but I've heard it's really bad. I'm bad at cars, but I've heard it's really bad for cars when you run that engine fully out of gas, right? And so we never want to do that to our leadership as well. I want to give us 3 really important things that I feel like I heard as we were talking. And so as you're watching this back during the week, I want you to maybe write these down, or maybe just think about these 3 things, because true to me, I believe that you can act on this in a really practical way, and it can really transform your leadership. So 3 lenses I want you to kind of take away through this kind of conversation. One is shepherding. As you're looking at your team, as you're thinking about how you can keep them engaged, whether you've got 4 people or 40, 100, whether you have, however many people you have, look through the lens of shepherding. Who needs care? Put a name to that. I had a really good season for a while where I set a calendar event. I don't do this anymore. I really need to, but I had a calendar event on my Google Calendar that showed up, And it was a 1 hour time during my workday where I would pray through every person on my team's name. There was just pages printed out with just names, and some of them had little photos. I enjoyed that a lot. I liked getting to see their face. But shepherding, who needs care? I would take time every week to sit down, not do anything except pray by name for my people. So shepherding lens, when you do that, you're looking at who needs care and looking at the specific things that are happening in their life and the struggles that they're facing, the joys they're facing, who's hungry for more leadership, who's constantly going, I just feel like there's the next thing that I can do. Who's never asking that question that probably should be asking that question, right? So shepherding, look through that shepherding lens. Number two, sharpening. Look through that sharpening lens. Who needs coaching? I'm not a gifted teacher when it comes to musicianship or vocalosity. I'm great at making up words. But in terms of actually like sitting down and teaching things, I'm a little insecure with that. So I don't do that really, really well. But that doesn't matter. Somebody on your team is great at that. I had an email come through today, a couple days ago to me that said, hey, I'd like to learn how to play guitar, but it's just hard to find resources for like worship music and stuff. And immediately I said, perfect. Hey, there's this guy named Ryan West on our team. He has got a degree from Charleston Southern. He's gifted with this. He actually travels full time teaching music lessons to all ages. Here's his phone number. Check him out. I'm looking through that sharpening lens of who is the person on my team that could take a next step musically, and how can I resource them? There's so many YouTube videos where these people do drum tutorials or, keyboard breakdowns where they're looking at the specific sounds and features of keyboards that you can send to your team members. There's amazing resources like mxu.com. I really encourage you to check that out. It's a subscription-based site, but man, I think they are the highest quality training videos I've ever seen for the worship world. Just high caliber videos on everything from ProPresenter to, if you're at like a larger church, comm systems. They talk about live streaming in a way that fits small churches to huge churches, and just all kinds of really, really great stuff. So looking through that sharpening lens, who needs coaching with that? And then the third lens, you're looking through your shepherding lens, you're looking through your sharpening lens. And then the third lens you're looking through is your stretching lens. Who needs a next step? If you've been around the coaching circle for any amount of time, you know how absolutely passionate that I am about how everybody, whether you are 0 years old or 100 years old, has a next step, right? It's like Legos. Legos are good for what? Ages like 0 to 99. Everybody on your team, whether they've been saved for like a week or all their life, has a next step that they can take. And Jacob, I think you mentioned time management was punctuality was something that somebody on your team can really grow in. And it's awesome to be able to approach that spiritually and go, hey bro, this isn't just like a time management thing. Like, this has spiritual ramifications as well. Like, you want to be a man of your word. When you say you're getting here at a time, like, there's people counting on you to be here. Real life example today. We had all staff, and I struggled to get the projectors turned on and the soundboard working. I had somebody that was supposed to do that, and then I had to set up my guitar and stuff later, so that it pushed us all back. So now I get to have the conversation of, hey, when we set this time, there's all these people depending on you to do this. So so helping them to see the full picture is really big. So 3 lenses to take home: shepherding, sharpening, and stretching. And I want you to think through one simple thing whenever you're watching this that you can do in the next 7 days to put skin on this. Again, if you've been around for a long time, you know how we do here. We don't just talk about things in theory, right? We want to make sure that we are actually applying this stuff and living it out. So I want you to think through how you can apply this, some level of this conversation in your ministry within the next 7 days. And if you're feeling amazing about it, post a comment, and we'd love to celebrate with you and rejoice in all that God is doing through stretching you and making you a better leader for your team. Dude, I've loved having you in this conversation. It has been it's been eye-opening for me. It's been really helpful for me. I always love when I get to hear people talk about what God is doing in their churches, the good and the bad. Like when God is doing some amazing things and it feels like God has abandoned us. Like we know that God's never abandoned us, right? But it certainly does feel like there are hard seasons. And my heart for this community is just that we can share in the good stuff and the bad. You know, we can rejoice with each other, but we can also go, man, yeah, that's tough. I have no idea how you're going to figure that out, but you better figure that out. And so really, really excited for that. I'd love for you to just close us out in prayer. And just, man, I just pray a blessing over everybody that's watching this, no matter when they're watching it, just over their house, over their leadership. And yeah, it's just, that'd be huge for me.
Absolutely, brother. Thanks for having me. Yeah, let's pray. Abba, thank you so much for this evening and for Taylor and Cherith and all those that will come back to listen to this later. Lord, would you just bless and guide them by your Spirit, by your word?
Yes.
Lord, it's so easy for us in ministry to just do things for the sake of doing things and to get into the rut. Would you keep my brothers and sisters from doing that and just to follow your Spirit? Lord, help us to start the day off with, how are you, Lord? What's your agenda today? What do you want to say today? And then to make space and to wait for you, Lord, to wait for you to answer the question. Lord, you'll answer us. Lord, would you protect them? Would you bless them? Would you give them guidance? How to lead their teams, pour into the next generation, how to pass the baton if it's time to pass the baton. Lord, we thank you just for this community and just bless them all, Lord, by your word and by your Spirit. And all this we say in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So good, dude. Thank you so much. We're praying blessings over you guys as well with your multiple services, and just as you continue to steward your teams well, continue being continue being a paragon for us, an inspiration for us. And yeah, don't mess up, because now I've got you on this huge pedestal, right? You can't fall or I'll be really sad. No, it's all good.
If anybody watches Andy Squires, that's where I'm leaning towards.
That is so good. Well, hey, if you're watching this later, be sure, if you're not following us on social media, be sure to follow the Worship Leader Coaching Circle on Facebook. We've also got an Instagram account, Worship Leader CC, because Worship Leader Coaching Circle was taken. Don't follow that one. Anyways, they're probably great. You could follow both, honestly, and reap the benefits of both. But our next meeting is going to be next month, the next first Tuesday of March. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but grab your calendar and check that out. And until next time, I guess we'll see you. I need a better send off, right? I need a catchphrase.
That's your homework for the next time.
Yeah, I need to look at that through a leadership lens. Chat GPT, what's a good catchphrase? Anywho's, awesome. Well, hey, I love you guys, and I will see you next month.
Hey, thank you guys.
See ya.